and welcome to Herb Strather Live.
Hello, everybody. This is Herb Strather on the Herb Strather Detroit Talk Radio Show. And I have a guest today, Marcel, and he is with the city of Detroit. He's a lawyer. We'll forgive him for that. He's a lawyer with the city of Detroit. He's a policy analyst, and he worked, therefore, I believe, with the city council.
That's
part
right.
of the planning commission, is it?
The Legislative Policy Division.
The Legislative Policy Division. We got a pretty interesting subject today that I think you're going to want to hear, all of you investors and real estate brokers, because, you know, we've had a new law, if you will, that have come out in terms of the building owners and their responsibilities and registration and the whole shot. And I've been a little fuzzy on it, so I'm going to get educated along with yourself. But I have heard quite a few comments. So, Marcel, I got some comments for you on this, though. You understand what I mean?
I understand.
Because I shot it out to some people, and they gave me some specific questions to ask you. Some of those
Hopefully I'll be able to answer
kind of
them
questions. And anyway, so first of all, let's start off, my man. I've seen you around City Hall. You know, I'm always roaming around, and you always walking around. I see you, a smiling, nice guy. You know, happy-go-lucky kind of. You know, but you're modest and you're really cool. I didn't know you were a lawyer, as a matter of fact. That's good, I guess. Okay, so first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been with the city? Are you a Detroiter?
I'm a Detroiter, lifelong Detroiter.
You were born here?
Born and raised here.
Well, what high
Families
school?
here.
What high school?
It was Southeastern High School on the east
Oh, you
side.
went to
With John
Southeastern?
Lear.
Oh, okay. Judge Murphy went to Southeastern High School.
Yeah.
We had an Optimist Club a long time ago.
Okay.
Southeastern Optimist Club. I built an Optimist Club there. That's a very good school. It has a lot of well-placed Detroiters went to Southeastern.
Yeah. Good East Side people over there.
So you graduated in 72.
Graduated in 77.
77, okay, I was
77.
just guessing. I'm making you older. You just excuse me, man. I ain't that old, all right?
And from there, I went to Eastern Michigan University and got a degree in political science and criminal justice minor. And from there, I went to University of Detroit Law School and started my legal career in 1993 with the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office.
Oh.
From there, I went to private practice with some real estate developers, and then ended up doing some as a contractor for General Motors.
Some real estate developers?
A real estate development company.
Oh, okay.
And then from there,
May I ask which one?
it was NSI Development Incorporated.
Okay.
Did some contract negotiations for General Motors, and then went to working for Floyd Allen.
Yeah,
and
I
Associates.
remember Floyd. Yeah.
Doing counsel for the Detroit Public Schools at the time.
Yes.
And from there, I went over to the city and working with the Legislative Policy Division, which was Research and Analysis Division at the time then, and worked with Gary Brown as his policy analyst, chief of policy, and then with Chantel Jenkins as her chief of staff, and did some work with the Land Bank.
Okay, so you're well-rounded.
Yeah, kind of well-rounded.
Yeah, you know what? I may have to incorporate you and bring you into Strather Academy. You know, you're well-rounded. You know, you need to. Have you ever thought about being a real estate developer yourself?
It takes a lot more capital than I have.
Well, no, not really. We show you how to do it without money around this place. We show you how to make money without money.
Okay,
That's important. So, but anyway, you're in a very a strategic spot right now. You know, there's been quite a bit of controversy from Detroit Association of Realtors. You know, we testified before the city council, and we wasn't exactly in line with everything. But first of all, maybe you can kind of just basically explain to us, you know, what is it that the landlords are required to do, and what's different? Because, you know, the question, one of the things was to put money in escrow. They've been doing that for years. You know, 36th District Court, you can always put money in escrow.
Right.
So first, tell us what we're required to do, and then give us a little background, however you want to build up to it, and then we'd like to know what's the difference.
So if you look at the city of Detroit, particularly with regard to residential housing, there's a lot of, as you know, single-family dwellings and duplexes. Initially, there were a lot of homeowners. I think the foreclosure crisis kind of created a different situation in which a lot of people who lost their homes and could not then get mortgages have to start renting.
25% of our population. It went from 69.5% to 45%.
And so now you have a large number of people that are renting single-family residential homes as well as duplexes. And, I mean, you still have multiple units, but these single-family homes have now gone into a lot of rental properties.
Right.
And so the city of Detroit, I think, is just trying to get a handle on the situation, just to make sure that the tenants that are living in those dwellings are protected and safe in doing so. So, I mean, a lot of the rules that's on the ordinance have been on the books for a while. They haven't been totally enforced. The other part of it was, my understanding is that the fees or the fines that were implemented when you violated the ordinance were pretty low. I believe the Building Safety Engineering Department looked across the country and in the Midwest area to see what the similar fines would be, and tried to adjust those fines accordingly. So they've adjusted the fines for noncompliance and increased those. It was, I believe, the first for non-registration, I believe the first offense was $50, and then it goes to $100.
And what is it now?
Now it starts at $500, goes to $1,000 for the second offense, and then $1,500 for the third offense.
Is non-registration an offense?
Yes.
So if you don't, you're required to register, right?
Right.
Okay, then.
Yeah, if you are, my understanding in reading of the ordinance, if you are a owner, non-occupant, and you're intending to have a tenant live in the property, it has to be registered.
How about if you want to buy and flip? That's what you're doing. You're just getting it ready strictly for sale and not for rent.
Yeah, if it's not going to be occupied, then you won't have to register as a rental property. It's only if you're going to have someone occupying the property.
At what point do you register when they occupy?
You have to do it before they occupy.
Okay,
you can't have an occupant and it would not be registered. So if you have a property and you intend to have it occupied, you have to register it.
I see. But if you have one that you're going to fix up, put on the market, and sell, then the registration is not required. I can imagine some people may not know they have it either way. You know, they'll rent with an option or they'll sell it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if they find somebody that want to, I guess a rent with option is a rental. That would probably qualify, right?
Right.
Then in that case, they would register it really quick before they move in.
Exactly.
To make sure they comply.
Yeah.
Did y'all get that? I hope everybody got that. You know, you have a little flexibility there while you're holding it. You know what I mean? It's based on what your intent is ultimately.
Exactly. You can't have it occupied before registering.
Okay, so, and then in order to, and then once it's occupied, how much does it cost to register?
That I'm not sure. We have to check with the Building Safety Engineering Department. They can tell you what the registration fees are, because once you register it, what happens after that, it has to be inspected.
Yes, well, therein is where there's a lot of pain and difficulty.
I probably understand.
Because what happens, you know, there's 70,000 parcels out here that's vacant, probably more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And landlords who have not registered, they're not subject to thousands of dollars of, I guess, regulatory requirements such as lead-based paint and on and on and on and on. And they have commented, many of them, that it's a guaranteed way to have to pay thousands of dollars that you may not have.
Yeah, and you know, the rub on that is if there's lead in the property,
right?
And depending on who you are having occupy it,
it can be a problem.
It can be a problem.
And we absolutely certainly do not want that. But
right.
But just the lead-based paint inspection is quite expensive, even if there is no lead-based. Even if there is no lead in there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the cost on the inspection is, but I understand that the city is trying to, you know, be proactive on this thing because of the whole issue with lead and how it impacts children. So that was one of the major concerns that they had was, but they did make it so that under this new ordinance, if you got the lead inspection, if you ended up encapsulating it according to what the rules and regulations require, then before you had to do it every year. You had to have a reassessment every year. You don't have to do it every year anymore. You can do it, I think if it's encapsulated, it's 2 years. If it's wholly removed or whatever, then it's a 5-year period for reassessment on it. So they're trying to, they understand the burden that it costs.
The financial burden.
The financial burden that will be on it. So they're trying to make it so that you don't have to do it as often as it has been in the past. But
I mean,
at the same time, it's something that they feel that has to be done. It has to be inspected to be.
And I can understand that. One of my investors, she had a building on Greenfield. She says she did her registration. She ended up having just to change all the doors and windows and all. It cost her $14,000. And she had another building on Greenfield, and she's going through the same thing right now. Some people on some apartment building owners have not yet registered. They haven't gotten the pain yet, you understand. It's been a question of whether the fine versus the requirements, which one hurts the
cost
most.
benefit of that, which is why I think they increased the fines, because before it was like $50 for a non-registration. That's a business cost you probably go ahead and take.
Yeah, that's an easy decision. So I just pay the $50.
Right.
Now they're saying $1,000 or something.
Yeah, 500, and then if you don't, the second offense is.
So is there any help for landlords right now that, I know they had some lead-based paint relief, some programs. Are you aware of that?
I am not. I know that they were looking to see how they can, not only the administration, I'm sure, but some council members are looking at how we can get some financing to assist some of these homeowners that can, provide some relief with regard to the cost of this. I think it's something that they're still looking at and determining where they can get some relief from.
Marcel, there's one other format that people have, many of the landlords have adopted. Under the Dodd-Frank Act, you can only do so many land contracts. You can do, I believe, one, but or maybe 3 the maximum. But if they have land contracts, they have to go out and get mortgage origination license. They have to become a mortgagee, a mortgage company, essentially, or you have to get a mortgage company to originate it for you, or it becomes a problem. So what they are doing is saying, look, we'll rent this property to you for 10 years at X number of dollars, and at the end of 10 years is yours for $1. In other words, it's a way of financing it and getting around the land contract.
Right.
But that could be a dangerous proposition, because that really puts them in the position of being a landlord, would it not?
It does. If it's not a traditional land contract where you're giving up a property right interest to the tenant, because they're actually somewhat of an owner at that particular time under general land contract laws. Here, if you're doing it that way, you're a landlord. You have a tenant.
You're a landlord. Well, so I think that the buyer beware signal really begins to flash now, because if you're in the auction and you're buying a home, and all of a sudden you buy the home and the home is in disrepair and the homeowner's in there. Now you're the landlord. You got to fix up that person's house. You know what I mean? It becomes a problem.
Right.
Right. It's not funny at all. But in September, usually you get a last shot at paying the taxes or making a payment agreement. And we were trying to save as many homeowners as we can. So the last day, which must have been September the 8th or something like that, or September the 4th or 5th, right before the September auction starts, when the city gives the property back. Because the city, the way the deal really goes is almost every year you can go and negotiate your property tax plan up to around the 5th of June. No matter what anybody's saying, you can do that. People get all nervous when they get these forfeiture notices and foreclosures. Right. Even if your property is technically foreclosed, the county does not take possession, and they allow you to actually go and make a payment agreement. Whereas in Oakland County, that's not the case. Okay. You cut off, you understand? But I guess because we have such a huge number, Eric Chabris and those guys down there can only handle so many. So they do give you the right to make a payment plan. And after that, it goes to the city and whatever the city wants, they get. And then it comes back in August sometime. And then from the time in August till around September the 5th, it's your last chance to make a payment plan. Now, most people don't know this, but you get another shot. You get another shot. It's kind of like an industry secret. So you just found out something just listening to the show. Okay, and so you get another shot at making the plan. So when you get this other shot, you can then take and make a payment plan. Now, I did something out of the goodness of my heart, and I almost got in a whole lot of trouble. And I'm going to take and tell you about that. We're going to take a break for a minute. I want to tell you what I did, and I want to tell you a solution to a situation if you find yourself in a position where you are a unwittingly landlord and you're taking on the responsibilities of the previous homeowner who didn't take care of their house, and now you are the lucky guy. You know what I mean? You got to fix it up. So we'll be right back here. We're having a great discussion. This is very informative, and you don't want to go anywhere. You want to call your friends up right now to tell them that Herb Strather got something to say, and he's got one hell of a guest on his show. So give us a few minutes. We'll be right back with you.
Herb Strather Live.
Okay, everybody, I'm back. I'm back with Marcel Hurt, and he is a policy analyst with the city of Detroit, and he works out of Dave Whittier's office. And Dave is the chief lawyer for the city council. Is that a good way to say it?
He is the director of the Legislative Policy Division. He is also an outstanding attorney. I've been working with him for several years now. I left and even actually came back. That's how well he treats his employees.
He's one of the nicest guys in the world, and he's a great art collector, too.
That is
like
true.
Myself.
That is true.
So we appreciate the good things of life. Now, Marcel, I'm educating my realtors and my investors that are listening to me here all over the world, all over the United States, my Facebook friends, all my optimists, and everyone else about some of the little secrets in terms of if you own property in Detroit. One of the greatest opportunities of all is really property tax, the property tax auction before it goes to the auction. If you can catch it right then, after the city have had a chance to look at it, they give it back, and you got a 2-week window to cut a deal. Mm-hmm. Most people do not realize that you got those 2 weeks, but you got those 2 weeks. And I want you to make note on that Herb Strather said it. So if they don't give you the 2 weeks, come see me. But you got a couple of weeks to make the deal. So I just want to give you a little case study. I'll take this opportunity. I made a deal, and we saved about 5 or 6 homes. It was about 4 o'clock too, and the everybody shuts down at 4:30. So it was at the very last moment we bought a home. And I remember I bought a house on Euclid Street, and I must have paid $2,400 to pay the taxes. Now, before I go and buy these homes, I call the people in, and they give me a deed. Mm-hmm. Okay, so theoretically, I become the property owner. Theoretically. Now, if they're losing their home and they have no way of possibly saving it, at least we can save the home and share the upside with them, so they don't have to move out. 48206, for example, thousands of people have lost their home who doesn't even have to pay property taxes because of the federal poverty rate. They're below that. If you make $17,000 or less as a single person, you don't have to do it. If you make less than $24,000, a family of 3, you don't have to do it. So people are paying. They're losing their homes and do not have to. So we're in a fight for our life to make sure that we save as many homes as possible. And I understand the business part from the city. If somebody buy that house, there's an uncapped value. They pay a higher rent, and they fix it up, and the city may get $3,000, $2,000 or $3,000 taxes paid on that property, whereas previously they got nothing because the person was low income. But most people do not know it. But in the bottom line is we saved the house. And as soon as I saved it, this was in September, winter come around, and I got a call about a furnace and this and this. I said, you don't have any of these things, So I found myself in a situation where I would become an unwittingly landlord. And really, I saved it and told the lady to make sure she paid her property tax into a payment agreement. And it was a very modest amount she was paying, I think a couple $100. So what would you do? That's what I want to ask you a question. What would you do? You attempting to help a homeowner. Are you going to share the upside with them? You're not going to own it 100% theoretically. what would you do? Well, I'll tell you what I did. I on the deed, because I had not yet really recorded the deed, I recorded the deed and I put on the quitclaim deed for security only. I wrote that on the deed. Thus, the deed became a mortgage automatically. The quitclaim deed now becomes a mortgage. It's lien for security only. Now, it would very well help if you had a promissory note behind that and you spelled it out. But I had a deed. She gave me a deed. I didn't have a mortgage. I had a deed.
Right.
And now I'm being asked to do things that are unreasonable. And there was one other problem, too. If I had the deed, it's no longer homestead. If I had the deed, the value could uncap. If I had the deed, I wouldn't qualify for low income. So for a lot of reasons, I wanted her to keep that deed. So what we were able to do, and we had a subject in our class because we take up these issues. In Strather Academy, we handle real life issues. Guess what happened to me today? Coach, look what happened. What can we do about this? And it's very exciting because it's real life. You know, you can sit and read a book, but you know, you get these circumstances and say, what do you do now? You know what I mean? And this was one of those times where you say, what do you do now? So what we decided to do was to take the quitclaim deed right on there for security only and record it. So I protected my interest. The quitclaim deed, although it's in my name, it says security only, so if there's a question, title did not transfer.
Right. I mean, if you don't understand, quitclaim deeds only give interest in what the person has. So they're giving you a certain amount of interest.
Right.
And when you put in the language that it's for security purpose only, you have an interest in the deed for security purposes.
For security purpose only. I do not have the title. So that's our lesson for the day, everyone. For security only. A quitclaim deed for security only. It acts just like a promissory note or a mortgage. It's a lien on the property that cannot sell it. In our case, when we help homeowners, we say, look, you're still the homeowner. We want you to keep it. But we can share the upside. And the other thing, too, that is very helpful, in many cases, at the very last minute, when we saved these houses, there were mortgages on them. $20,000 mortgage, 30, 40, 50. Well, the mortgagee, the mortgage company gets wiped out, too. So you can use this opportunity before you plop down your money to save one of these homes. You've got to negotiate with the mortgage company. You know, if it's due on a Friday, it'd be helpful Wednesday, Thursday, you call them up, say, you got an hour, you know, you got a day, you know, and let's come to an agreement. I agree to pay you $5,000 for your mortgage within 6 months or whatever deal you're going to cut with them. And it's also very helpful to get with the homeowner when they give you the deed, the terms of what that security purpose device is going to be. It should be a promissory note backing that up. And if that promissory note is what we call a participating promissory note. And in this case, you would get your money back plus 50% of whatever the upside is. I think that's how it would go. Well, this is Herb Strather. Marcel,
It's a pleasure.
I thank you very much for joining us and telling us about this new law out and the rationale behind it. You had to put the penalties in it to put some teeth in it. Otherwise, people will take the easiest choice, and that is just simply to pay the small amount. And so, Detroiters, those who are investing, you have an obligation to fix up the properties when you buy it. Of course, unless you do a security for a quitclaim deed for security and let that obligation remain with whoever owned it, but therefore you would have to be purposeful with an intent to share the upside. If you take all the upside, then you are going to be responsible. If it's a land contract, if you buy it, give them back a land contract, that's the same as a quitclaim deed for security. If you act as a mortgagee, you can participate with an economic interest, acting as a mortgagee, as a mortgage company, as a lender, and not take the risk associated with owning it. And the person who have the title, have the exposure, and they also have the homestead, which means homestead means that you pay a lower rate of taxes. Because if you have it as an investor, you uncap the value, you go to the full assessed value, and you have exposure that Marcel heard here is talking to you, that he illuminated to us, that you are on the hook and you're going to be responsible, and it's not hundreds of dollars. It's going to be $1,000, and then you got your lead-based paint. It could be quite a number. So this is Herb Strather signing off.
Phone number for Marcel, Marcel Herb.
Marcel, if somebody want to talk to you about this here, can you mind giving them your number?
313-224-3385.
3385-224-3385. All y'all call them up.
Coming up next term.
Yes. Well, just hang on because we have one of Strather Academy students who we've invited in today to talk about his experience with Strather Academy. And those of you who have been thinking about it, I want you to hear from firsthand from one of our students who was a very successful, well, I'll let him tell about it. He has a very successsul career before coming to the class, and the rest is history.
Just
And
made
you're gonna find out
$100,000.
about it.
Coming
Huh?
up next on
Ahead of us today.
Herb Strather Live.
Hey everybody, we are back, and I'm here with Anton Heath. Now I know Anton very, very well. Anton joined Strather Academy. How long ago was that? Was it 2 years?
3 years.
It's been three. It'd be 3 years in like September, right?
Yeah, it'll be 4 years because that was 2014 when we did the bundle.
2014. So it'd be 4 years. And when you joined, this is Anton Heath is his name. He is he was a student. He's an intern. Now he's really an associate with the firm. You can kind of come right up. He's a developer, but I want you just to listen to his story and tell us a little bit. Tell us about what you did before.
All right.
And then tell us, how did you get to Strather Academy? And what has your experience been since you came to Strather Academy?
All right. So I started off my career in sales. I was a sales account executive for a company out in Troy. Then I got a newspaper article from my father. And at the time, he was like, I think you should go to this. So I ended up at a seminar for Strather Academy. And at that seminar that day, it was me and my brother. And we sat there and we were like, we don't have enough money for both of us, but one of us could go.
I don't think I've heard this story before.
Yeah, so
the details. Go ahead.
So
you was the lucky one.
Yeah, I was the lucky one. I was the oldest one. So
Okay, the oldest one. You were the oldest one in the family, so they said okay.
Yep. So I borrowed the money for the class from my parents and a few other sources, and I joined the class. At that time, we had a thing where we were writing down goals. So that's one of my key things at Strather now is the goal setting.
Yeah.
We started off, writing out goals. It took me about 4 months to write out my goals. Mr. Strather was on my head.
I remember that very much because I was always on your
Yep,
case.
always on my case about writing out your goals and getting it all together. And I was like, I'm gonna get it together. I'm gonna do it. It was like October when I started, and I believe I wrote out my goals in February, and then by the end of March, I had everything on my goals list. And these were lofty goals. These weren't like,
Tell them what your goals were.
my first goal was to have 8 units. I had 0 units at the time, so 8 units would pretty much supplement my income from my job to make that transition. Another one was financial goals, how much money I wanted to make a month. All that came within 30 days of me writing down my goals.
So you found out how important it is to write your goals down.
Definitely.
Okay, so you bought 8 units then.
Yes.
So let's keep going. I want everybody to hear your history at Strather Academy,
So,
which is not unique. There are a lot of people. There's a lot of stories, and this is one of them.
so after the 8 units, I spent probably about a good 6 to 8 months actually figuring out how to manage what I had. So at the time, I jumped right in. And I started working. Started reading, started learning, taking more classes on how to actually do this process correctly, how to manage property.
Did you take the property management?
Yes,
Okay.
I took the property management with Jason Dean, and learned the whole system on how this all works, how the legal works. Then after that, I started increasing my learning by taking a developer's class at Strather Academy,
Right.
learning the ins and outs of development. Then I went and got my real estate license. So I started, I jumped in all the way. within I would say within 2 years, I was able to leave my job. So financial freedom is possible if you
don't mind me asking, excuse me. So what kind of salary were you making before? I mean, you left what kind of salary job did you leave? Were you making 30,000 or 50 or 100 or what?
No, it was upwards of 75,000.
Okay, so so you within 2 years, you left a $75,000 job and you
Yes.
joined the firm 100%.
Yes. Yes. So,
That is true. Now you've done some pretty cool projects.
yes.
Let's start with the very first one you bought, those 8 units. And then I know you bought a couple of other deals, and one that was very excited. I tell you what you do. Let's save the first one you bought for the last, because that's
Okay.
a sweet deal.
Okay.
And you bought a house, and then you bought another house.
Yes.
So you bought one across the street for a very, very small amount of money.
Yes.
Was it free or whatever? You tell us what it is. Tell us what
All
happened.
right. So I picked up a house. One thing I emphasize in all of our classes is get to know your neighbors. If you know your neighbors, you'll know what's happening in your neighborhood when people are ready to move, when people are ready to sell. It gives you a leg up on any type of purchases in real estate. You'll know the neighborhood. I would say tea gossip. So you'll know everything that's happening in your neighborhood, which actually has been one of my biggest assets, because my mom was over the block club for the neighborhood that I was purchasing in. So they would have neighborhood organization meetings and things like that.
So you're an advocate that people should go to their block club meetings and let people know what they do.
Definitely.
You got that so far, everybody?
Definitely go to your block club meetings, get to know your neighbors. We're creating community. We're sitting here. You know, it used to be a day and time where kids used to go outside and play with their neighbors. All the little kids in the neighborhood used to run around. Now everybody's playing video games and things. But
Right.
you know, we want to create that sense of neighborhood again.
Yes.
So, by knowing the neighbors, I was able to. It was a vacant house on the block that had been sitting there for probably about a year and a half. The lady, she was a senior, and she moved to Kalamazoo. She said, I no longer want the house anymore. So I said, would you mind giving it to me? And she said, no problem, you can have it.
I mean, just free, 100%.
Just free, 100% free.
Okay.
It took a little while, you know, with her being a senior, so it took a little while for maybe about 20 to 30 days for her to get the deed and everything. And these are all things I learned at Strather Academy: quick claim deed and how to deed it over to yourself, what to do, how to do everything. And these are just the preliminary steps on how to get into real estate, how to get into development, how to rebuild your neighborhood.
Had you ever bought a piece of real estate before coming to Strather Academy?
No, I had not bought any.
How about
real
your
estate.
home? Did you own a home?
No, didn't own a home, was renting
You
a
came
home.
as a virgin, so to
Yes.
speak. Okay.
Yes. So no idea anything on purchasing real estate or anything like that. The house, she deeded it over to me free and clear.
Okay.
Or actually not free and clear. It actually had back taxes and a water bill that was on the house. Later on, I got with some community organizations, and the community organizations ended up paying off the water bill and
That's cool.
the taxes. So the house was free and clear.
Okay, that's pretty good.
So that house I actually sold last year without even going through the whole rehab process. The neighborhood got on fire as far as value shot up so quickly.
What's the zip code?
That was 48202.
48202. That's one of the hottest zip codes in the city of Detroit. 48201, 02, and 06. Those are magic numbers, and you can't go wrong when you buy over there. So this is a great story, Anton. So how much did you sell the house for?
I sold that
And how
house.
much did you put into it now?
Total put in probably was about $3,500 that I did in that house.
You put $3,500 cash plus sweat equity.
Correct.
Did you and your brother put the sweat equity
Yeah,
in?
me, my brother, and my father, we got in there and got our hands dirty and, cleaned it out First of all, cleaning does wonders.
Just to clean it out.
Just to clean it out does wonders. Then we put it on the market for a few months, and then we weren't getting the bites that we wanted.
Okay,
So
I remember that.
Yeah, so we took it off, and then we went back.
And put it right back on.
Put it right back on the market, dropped the price a little bit, and we sold it last year.
Right. Now, I'd like to point out something. I told him to take it off the market. He took it off, adjusted it a little bit, took it off for about 10 days, and put it right back on. What happens when you put a property right back on the market? Everybody rushes to that property first and want to make a deal. Even if you got a good deal on a property that's been around a long time, they'll say, well, it's been around a long time. You know what I mean? Something must be wrong with it. But when the property pops on the market, the very first day is when you get all your action. So be ready the very, very first day. If you are a buyer or a seller, it works the same. I tell everybody, always have your purchase agreements ready. Have them filled out. And we got some great purchase agreements over at Strather Academy. And those of you who would like to affiliate and get some of our forms and work with us, it's not that expensive. Our online course is only $1,000 if you can't come to class twice a week. And really it's kind of 3 times a week, because Tuesday 6 to 8 and then Thursday 6 to 8. But Wednesday you come in and we have the computers and you can really look up properties and like. But we have what you call Student Corner. Just go to stratheracademy.com right now. Go at the bottom of the page and hit Student Corner, and you'll see all of the wonderful kind of forms we can get. You can be a part of that. You can join us and you can be a part, and it's not expensive. And whatever we teach on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we upload it, and you can ride around in your car and listen, and you could get a $50,000 education for $1,000. I mean, it's a wonderful experience. But we're listening to Anton right now. I had to kind of plug in a little content as we went along. But I'm going to take a break for a couple of minutes. And you're going to come back and you're going to hear some deals that Anton has done that will make your eyeballs pop out. Just hang on, y'all. Get ready. So Anton Heath. Anton is a associate at Strather Associates right now. He matriculated through Strather Academy. He became an intern, a student first, an intern. Now he's an associate developer. And we're having just a ball. And he's talking about his deals. For those of you who may be just joining us, he did his first deal he got for no money. He came to me and said, what should I do? I said, just give him a quick claim deed. Just tell him can you buy it? And he just did that. And then he fainted. After he fainted, I woke him up and said, you bought it, Anton. And then he went on. I think you sold it for $59,000 or?
Yeah, $57,000 was what the end total was.
$57,000. Now tell us about the next deal. I believe, what street was that, by the way?
That was Euclid Street.
And what address was that on you? Do you remember?
It was between the Lodge and Woodward.
Okay, so now you got another deal on Euclid that you did.
Yeah.
Tell us about that one. And tell us how you get it, because I don't know how you got that.
Okay. So
I don't remember anyway.
It goes back to knowing your neighbors. My father came to me and said, hey, the lady down the street, she's moved to Tennessee. It was an older lady. She moved to Tennessee. And the house was up for sale, but it wasn't listed or anything. So I found out who to contact. Her nephew is who I contacted. And when I contacted him, he was like, yeah, just give us, a couple thousand for the house. So at the time, it was still a lot of money at the time for me. So I got with my brother and my cousin, and we went in on this house. I think we paid $5,500 for the house. And the house basically needed to be cleaned out and a little bit of updates. So we spent no more than about $8,000 in materials and doing the work ourselves.
You did 100% of the work yourself, or did you have
me and my brother did about 75% of the work ourselves.
Okay.
So YouTube University is where we went to go figure out how to put up a backsplash, what to do for floors, how to clean certain things, countertops, all these different ideas that we came up with. We sat there, we would come from work, I would work my 9 to 5, come in, get something to eat, call my brother up. We would run down the street till about midnight and do it at least 3 or 4 times a week.
Got you a six-pack of beer maybe
Yeah.
all night long, y'all work?
Yep, so pizza, get something to eat, and we would go down there and work till midnight, and we'd do it a couple times a week.
So it was a work of love, though, right?
Yes, definitely.
You was restoring was it a duplex?
Yes, it was a duplex. We on one side of the duplex.
So you paid $5,500. You put in about 8 to 10.
Yep, $8,000 to $10,000.
Let's say so you had about 17, 18 grand in.
Right.
Now, as I understand, as I know, it was on Curb Detroit. Those of you who know who Curb Detroit is, tell them what Curb Detroit is and tell them what happened.
Curb Detroit is a media site that goes city to city, and they have Detroit specializing on what's happening in real estate development and things that are happening in Detroit. So my house was one of the top buys for the city of Detroit, under $125,000.
So what Curb Detroit did is said, look, what can you buy at $125,000 in Detroit, right?
Correct.
All right. And your home competed.
Yes, my home competed with 3 other homes, and it was selected as the second choice. I won second place.
Second place.
Second place as one of the top buys in Detroit.
Is that still on the website, by the way?
I believe it still is on
Curb Detroit, that was 780 or 08?
708.
708
Euclid.
West Euclid
Yeah.
is the address of the property. And you can go see the before and after pictures. It's a very exciting thing that they did. So you got $17,000. What did you sell it for?
I sold it for $117,000.
$117,000. How long did it take you to do that?
Not even a week.
No, I mean, how long before the time you bought it
Okay,
to
so
rehab it, the whole period?
so we rehabbed it. It took a little while for the rehab, probably 8 to 10 months for the rehab,
Okay.
because we were doing it not knowing too much about construction or anything like that. YouTube brought us
Okay.
all the way. Then we rented it for a year.
Okay.
So we rented the house for a whole year, and we made back everything that we put in it in that year.
What kind of rent were you getting over there?
I was getting $1,000 a month.
$1,000 a month.
$1,000 a month.
How many square feet?
It was about 1,400 square feet.
That's less than $1 a foot, so it was a good deal.
Yes.
Because right now, what is rent going for over there in 48202, close to Woodward?
Close to $2 a square foot, $1.50 somewhere.
So that same property could go for $1,500, $1,600 right now.
Yes. Yes.
Or more.
More. Yeah.
That's very exciting.
Yes, it is.
Can you imagine? A long time ago, we used to say, well, we want to move to Northwest Detroit somewhere. Right now, rents and everything in Northwest Detroit is flat, absolutely flat. Whereas 48206, Euclid, Pingree, 48201, West Willis, Alexandrine, these areas that we would be scared to run out of gas at night, previously are the hottest areas in the city of Detroit. And you know the amazing thing? Most of you real estate people don't even know it. I got to admit, I found out about it 6 or 8 months ago myself when a student asked me to help them save a home, and I looked on Zillow and saw what those prices were. They went up 400%. 400%. Go ahead, Anton, this is exciting. So, Anton, we don't have a lot of time left, but when you first came in and I was all over you about your goals, you wrote your goals down. You had previously went into a class project and you had invested some money, so we kind of took that money and you added a little bit more with it, I believe, and you bought a 6-unit, right?
Yes. Yes.
And I'm going to kind of talk about it just a little bit, then I want Anton to tell you the rest of the story. We structure deals with discounts. So always structure your transactions where you have discounts. So in this case, let's say, for example, I'm going to give you an example. You may sell something for $120,000, but you get a $20,000 discount if you pay the person off early. That's beneficiary because oftentimes the seller or the lender who's refinancing, they're not going to give you cash to walk. And this is in all cases, if you structure deals with discounts, at least you can cover your costs to recoup your investment at the time you refinance, and that's important. Now, that is a good structure, but just talk to us about this particular transaction, what you paid for, what you basically bought it for, if you will, and what is it worth now, and what have you recently done?
Okay, so we purchased the property for $140,000, and it's a 6-unit. So $140,000 was the purchase price for the 6-unit. It was more than 50% occupied when I purchased it. So when I closed, the next day I received rents. So it was a very, very good deal. So I received rents the next day. Just recently, I was able to get a financing agreement with a company that will help me do rehab on the building.
A hard money lender,
Yeah.
a private money lender.
Yeah, so we just closed a few weeks ago, and I have contractors lined up to come in. The appraised value as is when we got the appraisal was $260,000, and we have an after repair value of over $500,000.
So you went from essentially around $140,000 to $500,000.
Yes.
Once you take and finish it up, so you're going to make a very good couple hundred, 200, more than $200,000. Would you say that you're going to make on that one
Yes.
single transaction?
Yes.
More than $200,000, and we're going to stabilize a block. Can you imagine how exciting this is for me, that I am creating developers, young developers like Anton? Anton, I want to tell you, I'm very proud of you, man.
Thank you,
I want
sir.
to tell you, I'm really, really proud of you. Anton is going to be a major developer right now, a major developer, not a minor developer. He's coming up on 4 years this September with the firm, and he's already closed 3 major deals, and he's done a lot of little ones in between. We didn't talk about all those land
Yeah.
contracts and
Yeah.
things like that
Yes, sir.
that he's funded. He's funded a lot of deals, and right now we're in the process of doing an acquisition for $860,000, 11 properties at once. 3 or 4 of the students are all involved, and we're going to do them all at once. We have private money lenders who have affiliated with Strather Academy to provide our students and the Academy affiliates funding, and they're very excited. They've come in to spend time with us. They've even taught at the Academy, the hard money lenders themselves. So we're very excited. So I want to extend an invitation to you all to come where the dewdrops of mercy shine bright, where you can get a great education, and we take you from where you are to financial freedom. John, how much time we got, buddy? Is it a wrap?
No, let's take a break and let's come back and close out with you and
We're going to take a break real quick, and we'll be right back for a wrap-up. So just stay tuned and tell all your friends there's another minute left, and to get on the phone. We'll be back with you in a minute, and you will have 2 or 3 minutes for the wrap-up. Facebook friends, y'all coming to the party. All right, everybody, we're back for our wrap-up. This is Herb Strather and Anton Heath. He is an associate developer at Strather Associates. He matriculated through the firm. He came in never having closed a real estate deal in his life. He did not own his home. He owned nothing. Him and his brother attended. They both was excited. Anton was the oldest. You know how the oldest get it? They say, you go, Anton, because we both can't go. The whole family chipped in and paid to tuition. Now, the tuition wasn't that much. Our tuition, even today, is only $3,000 for a 12-week course, meeting 2 times a week with coaching, hand-holding, and a whole shot. And if you don't have time, you can simply take it for $1,000 online. So this is really a great opportunity for those of you who want to have something different. Anton was an executive, a $75,000 a year man working. That's pretty. How old are you, Anton?
I'm 31.
You're 31. So 4 years ago, you were 28 years old, 27 when you joined me, right?
Yes.
So you were making money. Somebody making 75 grand is 27. That's not so bad.
Right.
But what was your burning desire? Why did you want to get out of there?
Freedom.
You wanted freedom.
Yeah, I wanted my time back. I had a 5-year-old, so I didn't get a lot of time to spend with her. So, that to have money and time is amazing.
Did you hear this? And Anton brings his daughter to the office. She's a sweetheart. We love her. We got plenty of little toys because I have a 4-year-old myself. I got a 4-year-old named London. Hi, London. And we have a lot of fun with our daughters and our family. We're a great family. As a matter of fact, our youngest student you just graduated called Lahai, and she's 7 years old, and she's home taught, and she's so smart, and she wrote down her goal to make $9 million. So, Anton, you have any advice that you would like to give those who are maybe in your position, high income earners that want freedom?
Yes. There's nothing like financial freedom. As far as, I'm set my own schedule. I have time for my family. The money is still coming in, and I don't miss a beat. So, I mean, we really want a lot of younger developers to come through. We want people who are young and energetic to come through. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I was telling him about I purchased a home for my daughter. She's 5. He's like, "How did you purchase a home for your daughter?" I purchased a home for my daughter that pays her every month.
Isn't that something that's going to take care of her college education?
Yes.
So you can buy that home right now while she's 5 years old.
Yes.
And by the time she's 17,
Yep.
ready for college,
Yep.
she will have a lot of money saved because
Yes,
you ain't
she
going to
will.
bother that money. It goes right into her account.
Exactly.
And she'll have her a nest egg
Yep.
for college, and when she get out of college, she'll have something to start no matter what happens.
Exactly.
But you're going to be good and rich then anyway.
Of
But
course.
just in case, because as developers, we do take risks sometimes, and it's okay to get in trouble. Those of you who have been in trouble, those of you who have went through the recession, don't give up. As a matter of fact, that's what we call being baptized, and that's a requirement for you to join Strather Academy. That's not an absolute requirement, but we like people who have been baptized because you're entrepreneurs, you tried. But just keep the faith. So here, once again, we're extending an invitation for you to come over here to Strather Academy, where the dewdrops of mercy shine bright, where we hold your hand from where you are to financial freedom. So Thursday, February the 15th, from 6 to 8 o'clock, you are invited. And then on Tuesday, February the 20th, 6 to 8, you are invited. These are free seminars because the class fixed to start on the 22nd, I believe, right? Thursday, the 22nd, class starts. So let's go. Strather Academy, just call 313-444-9691 or go to stratheracademy.com. And if finally, we have what you call the mastermind. And if you cannot join now, if you don't have the money yet, join the mastermind. It's not $30,000 a year like other mastermind groups. It's $45 a month, and we'll feed you all of these wonderful podcasts that we do, and deals of the week, and we do newsletters, and we do case studies and webinars, and it's all yours for $45 a month now. That's what it costs now, not what it's going to cost. But if you sign up, you're locked in from here on in. So this is Herb Strather, Anton Heath, inviting you on over to Strather Academy. Take it easy, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow, February the 15th. Facebook friends, you all get to come to the party, right?
Happy Valentine's Day.
Okay, happy Valentine's Day.